Hey there, coming live from Riga, coming at you on a Sunday morning. Dallas Taylor over there in across the river, Pardaugava. How you doing,
Yeah,
Dallas?
yeah. Doing well, doing well. Ladies and gentlemen, um, I am here with a person who puts so much faith and trust in me that he doesn't know what my edits are going to be when I throw them out there.
That's true. That's
We
true.
have a lot of high trust going on here.
Need a
And Jeff
impartial.
Jeff Greenwald's
Nice
coming
to
at
see
you
you, Dallas.
from the center of Riga, centers.
Synthers, yeah,
Perhaps
Synthers.
even Vesriga.
Yeah. No, not that's really
Um,
good. Nah.
and speaking of high level of trust, you got to tell me about this um, this incident that you had going on this week that you told me about, where you get an email that said to wear two pairs of shoes, and
Yeah.
then
Are, you want me to talk about that?
yeah,
This
yeah.
is
I'm
this is
just curious.
pretty
I'm
deep,
curious,
Dallas,
like
because this
where
is
did it
rooted
come
in
from?
my work as a human being, the basic trust I have in humanity. So,
Yeah, yeah, okay.
um, I got a email in Latvian, of course, from my workplace,
Hmm.
and it was a picture of all the people at work wearing two different shoes,
Hmm.
and
I could
and
put it up
so
too. Okay,
then
you
I
got it.
there's a
Okay,
link.
there we go.
There's
Okay.
a Yeah, there's a link with it, and the link was a Latvian website. Edgars Rinkovits, the president, was talking about this day to celebrate diversity, inclusion, equity, like how people are different, but we have to accept people for what they are. It was a very nice idea. And the idea was you go wherever you're going and you wear two different shoes to show solidarity with people who don't necessarily fit in with the rest of the crowd. And so
Oh, okay.
I thought there was going to be a group photo and everybody was going to do this. And I get to work and I'm looking around. I'm the only one. I'm the only one wearing two different pairs of shoes at the office. And the
Okay.
person who sent the message wasn't even there for the picture. And I didn't know. I just felt like, did I misread it? Is it next week? Is it some other
Hmm.
day? And
Hmm.
so, I've been working on this. I want to, my goal is to fit in. I want to feel like I'm a part of this, the system, the society, this world I inhabit.
Yeah.
And it
Well, and
just made
it's a
me feel
new
a little bit
job,
like
so you're
yeah,
like, you wanted to like connect with your coworkers
connect.
and do a
Right,
thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Speaking of connection, Dallas, I forgot to ask you this. Are Do you feel like you're on a spectrum?
On a spectrum, what does
Yeah,
that
the
mean?
Tylenol thing, like was your mom doing Tylenol back in the
With the
70s? Was your
yeah.
was your was your mom
Um,
dealing
I
the
mean, I
acetaminophen?
over the years I've met so many different people and so that were so different in so many different ways. I think everyone could fit into that one way or the other, you know?
Because
It's
that's the big thing that they don't talk about at all. That well, some people talk about, but it's not Trump and Kennedy. And when they talk about this, it's like autism wasn't even a thing. Like we didn't talk about it when I was a kid. I don't know about when you were a kid.
Mhm.
We didn't have that word. We didn't know what it was. We just had weird kids. I was a weird kid. We had lots of weird kids. And then
Mhm.
once you have a label for that, and then you start to create a diagnostic chart for that, and then you can have a spectrum and say that someone who's here is a little bit autistic or a little bit more autistic, a little bit more autistic, then that's why the diagnoses exploded in the
Mhm.
90s and 2000s, because now you have a system for saying what
Mhm.
that is. And they
Yeah, it's
don't
just a
recognize that.
lot
They
of it
just
is
they
sort
just
of
think that
categorization.
the numbers just shot up like magic. But
Mhm.
it's so strange that it's so easy to shape people's belief just by saying something, and then people just take it as truth. And I
Mhm.
think that's the most dangerous thing about the world we're in right now, is that we're so suggestive. Most people are honest. Most people believe what people say. Most people just want to believe that the world is what it is, and that this world we inhabit. And so people who are willing to lie and cheat, the wolves I call them, can manipulate the honest people so easily, because
Mhm.
we're willing to just, oh yeah, why would you lie to me? Why would
Hmm.
Dallas lie to me? Of course, Dallas is just honest and he's telling the truth. And we just have that inborn kind of social structure. And then the people who just make stuff up,
Hmm.
these shills, these talk show hills, these podcasters, these politicians who can just blatantly just say things that aren't true, that have no basis in anything, but say it with such force.
Hmm.
Ivermectin, those sorts of things, bleach, drink bleach to cure COVID. And
Well,
they
I
just
was
say it.
listening to, you're making me think about Ezra Klein this week, where I was listening to him on the Bulwark, and he was just going on and on. It sounded like he was gaslighting everyone, to where
About,
it's like, well, just the idea of like, oh, you got to work with the other side, the opposing side,
yeah,
to have different views, and it's like, I don't understand now because like for me, I try to remain somewhat neutral until someone's inhumane about things, right? And
right,
I don't think it's a humane thing to go after trans people in the way that they have. I don't think
right,
it's a humane thing. Um, and I also don't think it's a humane thing to not be more understanding of what the religious people are going to see if they're seeing it as very like what they would consider a form of evil that's been put in front of their face their whole lives, you know? So it's like if that's coming at them, like how do you symbolism is an extremely difficult thing to
but
break from someone, right? Or
yeah,
from
yeah. I
something.
think
So, but I guess what I'm
there's a
saying
huge,
is that there's this thing around it where Ezra Klein was saying that the two sides have to be able to basically work together on the issues that they don't agree on. And I
yeah,
don't understand, like, there's a difference between how are we going to provide the community with enough clean water versus I want to eradicate all trans
right,
people and all trans
right. Well,
everything.
you
And
can't.
we want to be able to,
Well,
we are trans over here,
well,
right?
that's the big problem. Bill
Like,
Maher had the very similar final statement today about people on the left being crazy about these things, people on the right being crazy about these things, and maybe we could just agree on this or that or the other thing. But I remember when this first started, like the fascist kind of push started, and somebody pointed out like this idea of meeting in the middle. They keep saying that, let's just meet in the middle. But if the one side is murder and destruction and death, what's the middle of that? I don't
the
want
middle
that at
is
all. And
sounds
so,
like allowing that to happen.
exactly,
Yeah.
that's the problem with that kind of, that's why people were mad at Ezra Klein. I was listening to Nancy Mace, the congresswoman, was on Bill Maher, and Maher was criticizing Trump for his extreme views and the crazy things he says. And Nancy Mace excused it by saying, "Oh, he just wears his heart on his sleeve, and he just says what he feels, and that makes it okay." It's like, so if Hitler just wore his heart on his sleeve, and
Oh yeah,
Stalin
yeah,
just wore his
yeah.
heart on his sleeve, it's like
I
you
heard
have to
liberals
listen to
saying,
what they're saying. You can't just excuse everything they say by saying, "Oh, he feels it, so it's
mhm.
okay because it's his feelings."
Yeah,
No,
I heard liberals
garbage.
saying, or at least people who were messaging in the liberal speak, you know, in like liberal terms, um, like where they were talking about how Charlie Kirk was speaking his truth, and it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
okay, you know, it's like,
But if your truth
like
is like kill people and hate people,
and
then
hate, yeah,
I don't
exactly,
want to,
exactly,
I don't need to hear that.
right.
It's like as a teacher. So
Not that anyone
as a
deserves
former
to be
teacher, as a
ended in
former
the way
English
in that
teacher
horrible way.
in a classroom having a conversation with students, I found myself having to do that. It's like we could have a conversation about something, but when it turned to hate or violent rhetoric or just bad faith
Mhm.
discussions, I have to be the one to say no, we're not going to go there.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
Well, and we're
And
talking
I
like in
think
the
that
NAA, not the NAACP, but the NCAA. We were talking
the
about just
basketball, the college basketball,
yeah, and like all of the college athletics,
yeah,
right? It's not just the basketball, but it's
no, no,
all
of
of
course
those
not.
athletics.
NCAA, yeah,
Yeah. So so within that, it was just really a handful of people that we were talking about that were creating the whole trans
Oh yeah, like
scenario.
six people
Yeah,
or something.
within like thousands and
Yeah,
thousands, right? Like
hundreds
within
of
like
thousands. Yeah,
15,000.
yeah,
Um, or yeah, I forget how many. But it's unusual the way that such a small percentage, and this like gets into statistics and demographics, and the way that these things are presented can be so manipulative. We're just now with the AI getting to a point where real statistical data is available to the public, real economic data, economic impact data
yeah. So
is more
here,
available to the public. This was
I'll read this. I
um
just did this on, hold on, ChatGPT. NCAA President Charlie Baker testified that among the more than 500,000 NCAA athletes, he believed fewer than 10 were transgender. That's point,
500,000.
yeah, 0.002% are trans. And so we had
Yeah.
Leah Thomas, of course, the one that got so much press. But it's, yeah, well, this is the thing the right wing is
I mean,
does so
wouldn't that
well, is
point
they're
zero
able
zero
to,
two, wouldn't that be a percentage of a hermaphrodite within any species?
even less, even
You would think?
fewer. I think it's
Yeah, I
point
mean,
zero 0.02 is her.
yeah, I mean, why would you take something like that and start like, it's like, did you really run out of enemies and boogeymen? Are
Well, it
aliens not
worked.
scary enough
It's
anymore?
it's all about testing, right? They go out and they use words and language, and then they get the feedback, and they find out what's working, what's pushing the buttons, what's making the people
Yeah.
respond, and then you get the traction. And
Yeah.
this is what they do. This is what the
Well,
Stephen
and
Millers
it's
of the world are doing. That's their
well,
job.
but it does
That's why
also raise the
Democrats suck,
question
because
of
they
why
can't
would
brand
it
anything.
it's like what it is like it's the idea of the least among us, right? So it's like if you're going to adhere to the teachings of Jesus Christ and go to that
Yeah,
with that least among us situation, how is it that you're creating that dynamic and then but then it's like why are you having to put that in everyone's
feed
uh yeah, like kind of like
in
it's
their
like
face. Like, this is like
yeah, and
important.
so
We
I
need,
didn't,
yeah.
and I don't think that people would do that to make themselves unsafe.
Oh
a
no.
trans, I had a friend who was trans, and eventually to protect themselves, they would have people coming after them, like where
Mm.
they had like the baddies at coming after them, and they
Is
rode a
this back in Georgia
motorcycle.
or?
It was in Asheville, and then they moved up to the Pacific Northwest, and I think maybe around Portland or Seattle or
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they were having to protect themselves, and eventually their lawyer said, "You have to get yourself a pistol and follow the Second Amendment because you have the right to be able to do that." And within, and if
Wow.
you can't like nobody's going to give you like 24/7 police protection, 24/7 sheriff's protection.
Yeah.
So eventually those trans issues meet the Second Amendment, and then it comes back around to that to be able to where it's like, okay, well, whose political
Take it in
side
their own
is
hands.
that on?
So I wanted to
Yeah.
answer your question from before. So intersex in humans, according to medical and human rights organizations, about 1 in 2,000 live births. So that's 0.05%. So it's like an order of magnitude more common for someone to be androgynous biologically than it is for someone in the NCAA athletics to
Mm-hmm.
be intersex. So
Mm-hmm.
this is something they've, and you imagine the power of weaponizing that,
Mm-hmm.
weaponizing one or two people. Oh, I wanted to go on
Yeah.
this little conspiracy thing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We
This
can
reminded me of a
absolutely,
topic.
well, I mean,
I'm
like
gonna.
we like the like just to sort of like for a sense of normalcy, even for those people, like we shouldn't talk about it so much that it is
Right, right.
like
So I wanted to go on.
outsized, like it's
Did I
totally
talk about this
outsized.
before where I suggested that, like, so we see, Charlie Kirk, going back to that topic, because was one of his talking points that got people riled up. Um, where he would show the videos, and he would carefully, like you said, you're going to edit this, right? So you have the power to put this how you want it, manipulate it however you want, whatever. And so he put out these videos for Turning Point USA. He would go to these college campuses. They would take hundreds of debates, clips, this sort of thing. And then they would promote the ones with the craziest people, screaming or yelling, and make the left look the way they wanted the left to look. So they
Mm-hmm.
create, they foment this identity of what the people they're against are like, and their
Mm-hmm.
followers only see that. So the girl that we remember from the debate, who got her news solely from Charlie Kirk, her image of what the leftists, the Democrats, the left, whatever you want to call them, are like, is this screaming person who can't coherently make a sentence or whatever and is just angry about everything.
Mm-hmm.
And one, that's manipulative in and of itself. But two, how hard would it be to pay some college student, I'll give you $1,000 if you act like a crazy liberal on my
Mm-hmm.
podcast? And this
Right.
kid from acting class comes in and has a script and does this, I'm crazy, I hate you, and they show that, and it
Mm-hmm.
becomes our vision of this is what the left is, this is what those people are like. And they
Yeah.
show the memes, they repeat the image, they that I've seen the meme of that one screaming lady like a thousand times. I don't look for it, I don't want to see it, but I
Mm-hmm.
know what it triggers in their brains. It's like this,
Yeah.
and it could all be manipulated. It could all be like layers of this is what we're trying to create. Now, on the
Mm-hmm.
other hand, I want to bring up something you said before we met, because you brought up this idea like all the late night talk show hosts, Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert, I don't know all their names, Seth Meyers, The Daily Show. You said five, so I'm trying to think of the five.
Jimmy Fallon, Stephen
Oh,
Colbert,
Fallon,
Jimmy
Fallon.
Jimmy
Yeah.
Kimmel, Seth Meyers, and
And The
then
Daily Show.
is it Jon Stewart?
Jon Stewart, yeah, The
Okay,
Daily Show would
okay,
be.
uh-huh.
So those are the five, I think, the liberal kind of left comedians that have this voice. And you
Mhm.
suggested that maybe that message is also manipulated. They're all telling the same joke. Like you brought up the escalator last
Seems
week. Like
coordinated, yeah.
they all had the same joke. So on one hand, I
Or the same
suggested that,
premise. It's the same premises each time.
right,
It's like there's something about it that's giving them each the same premises.
right,
My example was the escalator not being
the
scary,
escalator.
where it's just
Yeah.
like I don't think that's a solid premise to build a joke on, that
Of
an
course it
escalator
is.
does, that there's no part of the escalator that's scary.
But
Like
that's
you would,
not what the
you
joke was
know?
about. The joke is about the escalator breaks and Trump goes nuts and he has to climb
No,
the
I know, I
stairs.
get that, and
And
anyone
and
could just
there's this,
walk up as long as that. But there was the big collapse at the Beyonce concert last year, where it failed, and it slid all back down, and everyone, it was full of people that probably overweight, that was probably overweight, but it slid. There was too many people in there,
well,
and it slid
yes, there's
down.
of course an escalator can be dangerous, but what happened
Yeah,
to Trump wasn't a dangerous incident. It just he walked on it and it
no, it
stopped. So
stopped.
it's really,
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
video was hilarious.
Right,
And
right,
I don't
right.
know if you remember the comedian Mitch Hedberg.
Yes, uh-huh.
Yeah, he
I
had the
do.
joke about the escalator where he said an escalator can never break, it can only be stairs. And it's like
Right.
that, I mean, you have that
Yeah.
premise from then, and then here it
Okay.
actually
Okay.
happened. So I
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so I think that's the humor in it.
Yeah.
But the fact that, yeah, I even looked for this to see. I thought maybe there would be some right wing outlet, because they've done this on the left, like where they take the Fox News correspondent here, One News, O News here, and then they put them together, all saying exactly the same thing on the right. So it's like they got their notes of what are the talking points we're supposed to talk about.
Right.
And I'm
Right.
wondering if we could do that on the left if you just took a clip from Fallon's, Meyer, all those. I couldn't find one. I figured there'd be one readily available that I could show to say, okay, they're all telling the same joke in the same way.
Hmm.
They're all starting with this. I saw Stephen Colbert did a Sherlock Holmes thing for who did the escalator, and he said that Jimmy Fallon did it. I don't watch
Hmm.
those regularly enough to see the the
Well,
connection between all
I'll
of them,
be
but
honest with you. I like, this is a pretty hard slam, maybe out of nowhere, for like where it's just shots fired for no reason. But like, if, and I know I'm not alone in this. It's like if I never had to suffer through Jimmy Fallon's comedy of any sort, my life would have been
oh
better. Right?
yeah,
I
well,
mean, like, it's it's a sad
Dallas, I
state of
don't know if
affairs.
this
That's
is
what I'm saying. Like, these guys are not irreplaceable, you
no,
know?
no, I don't know if it's old man syndrome or what, but I was just thinking about these like these talk shows at all. Like I went to bed last night. I watched I think we watched the Charlie Sheen documentary on Netflix. And I was just thinking to myself, why did I watch that? Why did he get to make that? How much did he get paid for that? What is this story even about? Like Charlie Sheen, I don't care about him. But two things about it. They showed like back in the day when he was really popular after he got the Tiger Blood stuff. He went on a tour of America and he would go to these sold out arenas with these people yelling winning and it looked just like a Trump rally. It was the same kind of people. They're
Mhm.
cheering for this idiot drug addict soulless monster kind of person who abused women and was arrested and rehab, a fallen person. And
Yeah.
yet in the United States he became this folk hero and this people would go cheer for him. And I think it's that same mentality we have in the United States, this like, let's cheer for the idiot. I'm going to go on one more point about this because it took me all the way back to high school. So I knew that the political system was fucked back in high school. When we had our class president, we would vote for class presidents. And I see the people that they choose, the common people choose to win these
Mhm.
elections. And it's like, they're not picking people because they're smart or talented or
No,
good
there's no,
politicians.
it's
They're just,
that's we saw that with Hillary Clinton versus Trump in that
oh
first
yeah,
round. Like
yeah,
there's no, it's not really a graduating process of where it's like, okay, like you were top in your class, and then among all
yeah.
of the tops of the class, you were
You
top
have
of
good
this
ideas.
class. And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
from
yeah,
that, they're top of that
yeah,
class. And then it's like
yeah,
a
yeah,
graduating process. It
yeah.
kind of is, but it's not the same graduating process that
No,
most
no,
people would know.
no. I
You know,
think, and I think in Europe
it's
that we
more
see
of
a lot more of. In
a
Europe, they do
station of the
choose
crosses
leaders,
than it is a
and
graduating process. Yeah.
in a lot of these small European countries, I
Oh,
think they do choose their leaders a little more based on.
I've lost audio.
Yeah,
I'll have to edit that out.
yeah, edit that out. Okay, so we're back with our yeah, this rant, not a rant, but I'm just talking about the late night TV. So the other thought I had was why why are we watching like I grew up, I don't know if you grew up this way, but I grew up with the 6 o'clock 5:30 news, 6 o'clock news, CBS, Dan Rather, Walter
Mhm.
Cronkite, whoever it was,
Yeah,
and we were sitting
like the
there
three we
watching
had
this.
the three main
Right,
network things, and then you
right,
had some the VH, or like I don't know if it's VHF and UHF,
UHF was
but it would
42,
definitely like
but Fox. But anyway, so we watched the evening news, and then we watched Johnny Carson or David Letterman or whoever the talk show host was almost every night, like watching these or the sitcom that came
Mhm.
on, and it was so regulated and scheduled. And I was just thinking how much brainwashing could go on in a system where
Mhm.
we're all just watching night after night the same thing, the same people, the same patterns, the same voices, the same just this regulated kind of media that
Mhm.
we grew up with, where it was like normalized to watch just the same head, people talking. And now we see it with the Fox News people. That's all they watch. They're in this zone. The people watch Colbert, the people watch Fallon, the people watch. You get in this zone where it's just like almost hypnotic, like over and over.
Mhm.
Just repeat just mindlessly. I'm going to watch this every day from here to here, and it's like, how did
Well,
that become the thing, like the norm?
yeah, there's like a whole thing around that starts with Johnny Carson and maybe Woody, not Woody Allen, but
No, not Woody Allen. We don't want to go to
oh,
Woody Allen.
but anyway, I forget what his name is. Steve Allen. Steve Allen.
Oh
That's
yeah,
it.
before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And so there's a whole legacy, and then you had the shakeup between Jay Leno and Conan, and
Conan
like
O'Brien. Yeah.
why didn't Conan go further? Why didn't Conan like get all the accolades that Colbert and Jon Stewart got, kind of thing? Um, and so like it's an evolution of that, but I feel like those guys are the canary in the coal mine for the First Amendment. They are the court jesters, right? Like
Yeah.
it's a crucial role. That's why I follow them. And it might be one, I would imagine it's something that's as old as Kings and Queens, to see where there might be a portion of
What's the
it that
line?
where you're watching this stuff to see if the king is going to cut his head off, right?
Yeah.
Or like, or the canary in the coal mine for the First Amendment. Like if they
Yeah.
come after them, you know that you can't make fun of the president anymore because that's like it's almost like it's the core function is to make fun of the president so that it shows the other countries that you can,
Yeah.
right? And so it's like if that piece of it's not understood by the president and they go and chop off their heads, it's all the other like uh people around the world will start, doing
Questioning.
that.
Yeah.
And
What's going on?
well,
Yeah.
and it's like there's no free society that can be that, um to be the counterbalance for that medieval guillotine. You
Well, here's the
can't make
scariest
fun of
part about it. It's not about the guillotine or head being chopped off, but it's about once you think that you might get canceled or in trouble for saying something, then it becomes the thought police where you're scared
it.
to say something. Like when I do Latvian comedy here,
They
when
do
I get
come
up and
there,
do my
and
stand up,
it's a very
I
prominent
thank
thing,
I
though.
thank
And
I thank the Latvian audience that I can say whatever I want. I don't feel like there's a thought police here like there is in the United States. I don't the jokes I do here in America than open mic and get away with it. I think I would get canceled or people would yell at me and hate me or whatever. It's not I don't do hate speech. I don't say anything terrible, but I just think there's this mindset where there's things you don't talk about or things you can't say in the United States, much more so than here, which is why I say it's like we have freedom of speech in the United States, but we also have this thought police in our mind that comes through the channels of education, TV, wherever. These are things we can say. These are
Mhm.
things we can't say. Shh, don't talk about this too much or
Well,
whatever.
and then it's like what I learned with the creative community, like artists, graphic artists, musicians, and like the world of theater and all that kind of stuff, is how
Mm-hmm.
curated. Like it's a curation is what
Yeah.
they how they refer to it. Now, when you get into government, it's more about setting the agenda. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so like if you can create the agenda for the meeting, like if I created the agenda for what we're going to cover here today,
Yeah.
I
That's what
I
we're
can
going to
control
cover.
a lot, right?
Yeah. It's
And
true.
so and then it's like, okay, well, we'll allow 2 minutes for your freedom of speech in there,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we have freedom of speech, but we also have Robert's rules. Now,
Yeah.
from the right, we're getting freedom of speech, but tone down the rhetoric.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. You want to talk about Michael Wolff? I want to get there before we
hmm
Michael
Yeah,
Wolff and
actually,
fascism, I think, next topic.
I've I've got that. Yeah, I've found it. It's right here. I just need to skip ahead to see where we need to be in it. Um, it's
Do you think
this
he looks like Fred
character.
Armisen, or is that just me? I think Fred Armisen could do a
No,
Michael Wolff.
100%. 100%. I think he already has.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he already has.
Okay. So this is Michael Wolff on Daily Beast. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
where Joanna Coles here interviewing.
Is he the man for the task?
I'd say probably not.
Okay, they just ask about Chuck Schumer. Like, is Chuck
Oh,
Schumer the man for this? Because we're going into a government shutdown. We're going into a lot of talk
yeah. Oh,
about a
yeah. The
government
government
shutdown.
shutdown. Okay.
The
All right.
Democrats, the Democrats think that that's the thing to do, and I think it's a setup all the way around. This is not gonna be normal. It's
All
um,
right.
it's another bait and switch scenario, and if
Well,
the
let's get to
Democrats
that.
think
Let's
they
hear
can
what Michael
survive,
Wolff said.
well,
I just want to hear this first.
I mean, this is never what this isn't what he's ever done.
He's a backroom guy, right? Trying
Yeah,
to
he's a
sort of figure
legislator. I
things
mean,
out.
I think he's fairly good at his job. He's a bureaucrat. I mean, that's part of the crisis for the Democrats is that they have nobody who can step forward, nobody who can be a symbol of resistance, nobody who is credible in that role, nobody who enjoys that role.
Right, because we've got governors who've made noise on social media. You've got J.B. Pritzker in Chicago, who's been trying to, front up to Trump and say, we don't want your people here. You've got Governor Newsom, you've got Wes Moore, you've got people who've protested him sending troops in. But this is different because it's Congress.
Yeah, and we're just starting to see those Democrats in state houses step forward, and we don't really know if any of them has the moxie yet, or anyone who can articulate this in such a way that people say yes.
Yes, close down the government, shut the VA hospitals.
But in terms of Congress, nobody. I mean, these are Democrats who have been in positions of power, many of them for a very long time. They actually come out of a time, or at least the expectations of time around the corner when they're in charge, and that's what they do. And that the idea that now is a different time and demands a different temperament is I think still has not kind of gotten through here. I mean, we need a change of a complete cast member change.
And a change of approach.
But we need is not only a change of approach, but we need a change of people who can do this, people who are up for this. I mean, Chuck Schumer he seems to. He's been in this job a long time. I'm sure he does it. He does it relatively well. But in terms of someone who is effectively being asked to take an existential position, if we are going to die if somebody doesn't figure this out. I mean, and I think this is still this moment in which all of these people who've been in power and around power for a long time have not quite come to terms with the fact that this is the life they know is in the process of ending.
Wow. I thought you said he said something about throwing bodies in the machine.
Well, he
that's
does. That's maybe a good place to stop. But we can maybe continue.
And if there is not a fight now, it will end. It will end very soon. It is ending.
Well, and Hakeem Jeffries, minority head of Congress, the House.
That's good. Let's move forward. We don't have a lot of time
lackluster.
Yeah. So that was pretty dark.
Well, I mean, yeah, and it's like the question just remains, like, how is it that a son of a preacher man from Griffin, Georgia, who grew up on construction sites, can figure out that this is coming at good 5 to 7 years before any of this professional class, enough to see the writing on the wall that this is going to be an all-out bar brawl and you don't have any guns.
You're talking about the Democrats.
Yeah, and they got.
And this is why you have a solar panel behind you, right?
Well, that's one reason. But this is more like if we see a bright flash that comes through. It's like I was just figuring, if we're gonna have World War III, I want it as quickly as possible.
Okay.
No, I don't see anything like that taking place anytime soon. We had some really interesting jets come over though, here in Riga. Yeah, it was like where it's like you would hearing jets and it was like it was like this
wow.
All over where you could.
Did you see him or just hear him?
It was a jet like flying around. I just heard them, and it was the strangest thing that it was the strangest jets I've ever heard. So it seemed like it was some new out there, some of that fresh
maybe they're experimenting,
bleeding edge, as they say.
NATO experimenting over us.
Yeah, well,
I don't know. I
think Turkey's been stepping up a little bit.
What do you think the generals are going to meet about next week?
I don't know. I figure maybe they're getting some new cell phones or something like that.
Yeah. I don't know. Here's a new pager from Israel you can keep in your pocket.
Well,
like
No, I
that? You
didn't.
mean?
Yeah, I didn't even. No, 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 no. I mean,
Oh,
actually, like, how else would it's like how everybody needs to go to the Apple store and stuff like that, but you're not just gonna have any old Apple iPhone off the shelf, right?
yeah, yeah.
Like
So
you'd need something that was.
I asked you before.
I
We
mean,
only
I
have
don't
3 minutes
know.
left. It's not enough time. But on Bill Maher, they also brought up this Nigerian genocide where the Christians are being murdered, and I hadn't heard anything about it. And I'm like, why don't I know anything about this? And you said I don't think you heard about it either.
No, no, I haven't heard the first thing. I bet you it's in some churches this morning though,
Well,
because
that's the thing.
there's
It's
one
like
thing
I did a
that'll get
search. So I did a
people.
search on Google. I did a search on Google. I said Nigerian Christian genocide, and like every website reporting on it, it's like Catholic National, Christian Nationals, like it's all these conservative Christian websites that are reporting this as this Christian
Mhm.
genocide. NPR does have one story. We're being driven from the land. Nigerian village buries its dead after a massacre. So there was
Mhm.
this massacre that NPR posted on. 160 people were killed. I don't know who's fighting who, but it says NPR visited Yelwalta in the aftermath of the killings. Christian prayer books littered the ruins. Groups of young men searching through debris where flies swarmed around bones and human remains. And so there's this thing going on in Nigeria. I haven't heard a tweet about it. And they're suggesting that this is like they're going after Christians in Nigeria. I don't know who they are, like Muslims attacking Christians. But
No, it's more
so
there's there's
I
that's
wanted to
where
talk
Boko
about a broader,
Raton is, not
what's
Boko
that?
Raton, but Boko Haram. Boko Haram is there. When I asked ChatGPT, it was talking about several different
This is Fulani
conflicts.
pastoralists.
Yeah. There were things that were going out, that's going out all throughout the whole country in different ways. Um, and yeah, like I know there they've had things where over the years that were horrific, where there'd be even white evangelical Christian groups that had gone in there and drummed up the tribes against
Yeah.
other groups and stuff and caused massacres in that way. I have no idea. I think it's going in several different directions from what I saw. But
But
yeah, we've got
I
a
just don't
minute left
understand like
here.
why there's this. Bill Maher said this Christian genocide. Of course, Nancy Mace agreed, and then I haven't heard anything about it on regular news. So I'm wondering if maybe it's like just one of those not random, but targeted killings, and it just happens that the people on one side are more Christian than the
Yeah.
people on the other side. But it's not about religion. It just happens to be these two groups. So that you can
Hmm.
call it a Christian genocide, but they're not killing them because they're Christians. They're killing them for whatever tribal reasons they have for fighting. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
I
understand.
don't.
But it just made
It's
me
always
wonder. It just
curious
made me
to me
wonder. We only
what
got a minute
level, what
left.
rises. Yeah, I'm sorry. What rises to
No,
that level of like where it's like a highly produced news thing that goes out everywhere.
right. Well, that's my question is what news aren't we seeing? So maybe that's a topic for next time I want to talk about is like what else don't we know or is going on in the
Hmm.
world? Maybe we could bring
Yeah,
some light to the
yeah, and how
people.
to find